what's up, y'all? I cannot believe we're doing this. We're back, kinda. I don't know if I'm gonna make videos every week and be like in the same schedule that I was a couple years ago, but I wanted to make a video today. If this is fun, I might do some more, but a lot of stuff happened in the last year or 2 years, I guess, that I haven't uploaded any videos. We're not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna break down sample like we did in the good old days. This is a sample that I made after watching a YouTube video. I don't remember right now the video, but I'm gonna try to find it and put it in the screen right now in the editing. It was this guy just like making, I think, like a jazz or like an R&B sample, just using Trident, you know, that VST that emulates that synth from, I think it's Korg. And I don't know, it just sounded so fun. The sounds on the plugin just sounded so fun to me. So I wanted to do the same. I wanted to try the same stuff. So this sample that you already heard was entirely made on Trident. And we're gonna try to break that down. First, I started with this pad. The idea here was to try to make like a jungle, ethereal like jungle thing, and it just became this like popish R&B like jazzy stuff. This is how it started, right? By the way, let me address the elephant in the room. I'm on FL, right? I was using Ableton for a couple years, I think, since the beginning of this channel. For people that don't know, I started on FL. I started producing back in 2017, and I started on FL. But at that time, I was just making beats, right? Like making like trap beats, like I was watching like Nick Mirror streams trying to replicate what he was doing. I think in 2021, when I started making samples and getting into like making melodies, I don't have any music training or anything. So that was like a whole new thing to me. I switched to Ableton because Ableton is better than FL to this day in a lot of things, especially dealing with audio and like recording. But I'm kind of getting back into FL because of a couple of reasons that I don't want to get into them like right now on this video, but maybe in the future. But one of the things that I love about FL is how easy you can get ideas down. So I'm kind of switching computers right now, and I'm using a MacBook, and I'm just using a dongle that has like 4 USB ports. So I don't even have my keyboard plugged in. And I made this entire sample playing on my computer keyboard, right? And this is some of the things that just make FL so great. Being able to just like hit this button and play stuff on my keyboard. And I know that Ableton also has that, but it's just better on FL. Like the whole like MIDI thing on FL. This is kind of why I'm kind of getting back. And it's mostly other reasons, but I don't want to get into that today on this video. But so this is how it started. I started with this pad, and what I did was just make this one chord, which I believe this is probably like a minor ninth. This is just a minor ninth with another F in here. And I just, resampled that and just brought down 5 or up 5. So I had this pad, and I just duplicated it, make unique, which is something that I hate on FL, that I need to make everything unique. Make unique and brought it up 5 semitones. So this was my progression. And like I said, this was supposed to be like a jungle thing. Just for the record, like the mixing, there's nothing special on this. This is just a FabFilter Pro Q3, cutting the lows and a little bit of the highs and a little bit of this mid lows. With compressor that I use a ton on basically everything. Vintage Verb and Kickstart, just to have that, get our heads popping, right? So this is where it became kind of jazzy with the bass. Oh my God, this is so simple. I'm embarrassed about how simple this is. It's just following the root notes of the chords and just doing this little motion, and it's just repeating. I did a little bit of randomizing. I love to do this, randomize the velocities a little bit, but it's just that repeating over and over and over. So after we had this bass kind of thing, I just went into like the presets. I export everything to audio, so I'm trying to like find the MIDI to all this stuff. I believe this is it. It's one note, just the going up and down one octave, and it's just like a drone kind of thing. Yeah, this is definitely just this, and now down an octave. Yeah. I can see I'm just using 8 bars, but I always export 16 because sounds, and this is one of the things that I like about exporting to audio. Sounds can develop, right, on these USDs. Maybe if you hold down a note for longer, or if the oscillator is working for longer, there's like implications and delays and LFOs that start on it or something like that, right? So I just like to export everything to 16 bars, so I just have more options when I'm cutting these sounds, right? After I did that, I went into the hits section, which is really nice because I never go into that section, but I just found this like guitar wall. That's kind of fun, right? I just added that. And I also added this one, and it's not on key. Don't tell anyone. It's so off. But it's fine because this is jazz. So I also added a lead, and this is one of the things that I played on my computer keyboard. So again, really simple. It repeats a lot. It's kind of a theme of this sample. Since I play this on my computer keyboard and not on my actual like keyboard in here, it's out of the grid in a lot of places, which gives it that human feel, but it's also everything on the same velocity, because obviously the computer keyboard doesn't have velocity detection. But I just left it that way, and it's fine. After I did this R&B lead, I wanted to add more keys because honestly, when I finished that sample, I just wanted to get that pad out. I wanted to that lead, that pad that we started on. It just didn't fit right, but I just left it in. But I just added some more chords to give a little bit more body. It's just those same 2 chords looping over and over and over. One thing that I did here is use this humanize. This definitely clicked in. I clicked this in, or I probably did this, right? I used the stamp feature and I added some notes like this A here, this thing here. And what I did was go into here, tools, and humanize. And I just hit this regenerate button a couple of times, right? This is a really good tool that ImageLine added in the last update. Thank you, ImageLine. Aww. And this is mostly like a crystal rose or something. There's not a lot of body. That body that I was talking about, this is gonna come in on this rose. I'm not talking a lot about the mixing, but the mixing is pretty much the same. It's Pro Q3 on that lead, Pro Q3, Wolf compressor, which I love. I use Fruity Flangus. That's nice. Valhalla Vintage Verb, same thing with the keys. Pro Q3, Wolf compressor, but I use the stock parametric EQ. That's nice. And one thing that really glued this whole thing together was this percussion thing. Trident, they have like some drum kits in it. And it's just so nice. These like Roland and Korg VSCs that they made emulating those old synths. It reminds me of like the PS2 era, you know, like video games that were using those synths. There's not a lot of variation on those sounds, right? It's just like one note sample repeating itself and changing the pitch, like how we use one shots today, right? And it's just nice. So I added this like rhythm, this percussion. obviously, I didn't click this in, right? You can see like the notes have different. They're not clicked in. They're human notes. I did this one step at a time. So I started with just the congos, which are just these two notes, and then I added this other thing. And then I added this other thing, and then this other thing, and then these other things. For you to do that, you just hit this, so you can use your computer keyboard as a keyboard, and then just this, so it overdubs, right? So it records on top of what you're recording. It doesn't replace. So after I did a couple of takes and like tried to find good sounds and recorded each individual sound alone, I hit humanize for sure, or like the randomizer for the velocity. So I just did this, right? And we have like this really cool percussion thing. Really nice. On that same theme of percussion, I just added these chimes. Again, everything on this is from Trident, and I just found these chime sounds on Trident and played this. It's just a single note. And that's that. And I did just editing here. It's really quiet, but it sounds nice. It's a little touch. And this sound is way more, it's way darker, right? I probably EQ'd this. Nah, just the sound is okay. Yeah, the sound is just darker. Oh no, fuck. Okay, so where were we? Roads. So the sound is just darker, right? It's just there to feel the mids and the low mids a little bit more. That bad and the keys and the Rhodes sound together with the bass. You almost don't actually like hear the Rhodes. It's just feeling a little bit of space, right? So this is like the meat, right? The meat and potatoes. This is like the base, and we can add more stuff on top. So I was messing with lead sounds, and I found this harmonica thing, which sounded really cool. And again, this is just a little run that I also played on my computer keyboard. I just recorded it, left it in, and looped it 1,000,000 times. And it sounded fine. It sounded good. So I just left it in. I added these bells. I remember these bells were a conscious decision. This is really repetitive. It's just the two chords repeating over and over, the same bass line repeating over and over. I just wanted to have like these little moments of like transition, right? So these bells, they do that. I clicked this in, and I also manually just made this velocity just a little bit higher on each note. For some reason, sometimes when, you gotta be mindful of the transients. You don't want everything to hit at the same time every time, because even if it's just a couple of things, or like low sounds, low in volume, low sounds, or not particularly important sounds, if there's a lot of stuff happening at the same time, it can get really messy. So it's kind of fun looking back into this. Each note is just perfectly on the grid. Just this one that isn't, because I have the pad and the keys and the Rhodes and all that stuff playing at the same time, right? So I just moved it a little off the grid. So it just feels better on the ears. And these bells are just here to make this transition. I also found this accordion sound thing, and I just thought it sounded nice. So I played this little melody here. Looking back, like these two sounds, they play basically the same phrase, right? Or almost the same phrase. same like movement, but it's fine because there's no rules. I hope there's no rules. And this is just all the elements. This is how I usually work, especially on FL. It's fun to, and this is why I say, even if you like the DAW that you're working on, and I switch DAWs a lot. I've tried a lot of DAWs, like every major DAW I tried. Even if you like the one that you're on, it's cool to change, because not even touching on which ones are better than the other or which ones are better for certain tasks than others. The way that DAWs work shape the way that you work. On FL, they have this thing called the channel rack, and it's easy to loop stuff and just stack stuff. So I can add, if I'm making a drum, I can add a lot of percussion and just add a ton of them and really easily make like these loops. And the hard part is actually getting out of the loops, because FL is a loop based DAW. It's not a track based DAW. But especially on FL, this is how I'm working. I'm making melodies. Most of my stuff is MIDI. Sometimes I record a bass or a guitar, but most of the stuff is MIDI. And I'm just stacking a bunch of sounds. I'm stacking 13 tridents, and each trident is playing a different melody, right? These were all just one pattern, and this is how I'm working, right? So at the end, I have this. I split it, export everything, and when I have all of this stuff, now I'm thinking about how to structure it. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it, but this is the way that I do it. So now I'm pulling like this top lead. I'm not using it in the beginning. I'm not using the accordion in the beginning. I'm not using the bells in the beginning, because the bells, they're in here in the channel rack. They are in the beginning, but I'm not using them right here, right? So I'm cutting stuff out and just structuring later with what I have. Like, it's kind of like the Lego pieces. I'm pulling stuff that I want and removing stuff that I don't want. So I end up with like a cool little fun structure. I try to find like these cool little moments. Like this moment is my favorite moment on this sample. But I'm sure you can do this by yourself. This should be everything for today. This was kind of fun, except the 2 times I felt crashed. It was kind of fun. Maybe I'll do some more, depending on the feedback that I have from this. I see you guys on the next one or on Instagram. If you want to go on my website, outofIdeas.co, there's sample packs there. But if you're watching the video on how to make samples, maybe you don't want to buy samples. I don't know. That's up to you. Follow me on Instagram. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I'm out.